Welcome to our weekly discussion of all things current in California politics. I'm Walt Gray. Joining us this week is reporter Emily Hoeven, a political expert for CalMatters.org. Emily, good to have you back. The governor's been talking about the high cost of gas and taxing oil companies, but anything he might do formally will be after the election, correct?
Yeah, so he has called for a special session of the legislature, which is actually a pretty rare event, hasn't happened in a couple of years. And basically he wants them, the day that they come back to Sacramento, to be sworn in, because they're going to have a bunch of new members following the November election. That December 5th swearing in ceremony, he also wants them to start a special session dedicated solely to exploring a windfall profits tax on gas companies and potentially directing some of that excess money back to Californians. He's accused the oil companies of ripping off Californians, and the companies deny that. And in the meanwhile, they have actually started a referendum, a petition to put a referendum on the 2024 ballot in response to a law that the governor just signed that heavily restricts the development of new oil and gas wells in California and also prohibits extensive retrofitting of existing wells.
Well, we kind of have a heavy Gavin Newsom-centric Q&A with us today. So the LA City Council situation has been a huge mess all week long, but the governor has stayed out of it. Why?
Yeah, he's taken kind of a quiet path on this. We had President Joe Biden, who was here in California this week. He weighed in and said that all of the council members involved should resign. One of them has stepped down, and also a labor leader who was involved in those conversations. And after the president of the Los Angeles City Council stepped down, the governor put out a statement saying that was the right step to do. But he has not said that the other members involved should resign. He's kind of stayed out of it so far. And it is striking given that the Biden weighed in, and also Attorney General Rob Bonta announced this week that he's going to launch a formal investigation into the redistricting process in Los Angeles, which is what the meeting they were recording was about how to consolidate Latino political power in Los Angeles. And so it is striking the governor hasn't, and maybe part of it is upcoming election, and he just wants to remain as neutral as possible and avoid angering different groups.
Well, he does get involved in many different things. I guess he can't get involved in everything, and maybe he's just going to let this play out, which is, fine too. So he's also running ads for Prop 1, but he's not doing it in his own campaign. Explain.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The governor is facing a pretty easy path to re-election this November. He's running against a Republican state senator, Brian Dahle, who is, not very well known in California, has much less money. And so the governor, instead of actually running campaign ads for himself in California, has used his sizable campaign war chest to instead pour about $5 million into supporting Proposition 1 on the November ballot, which would enshrine the right to abortion and contraception in the California Constitution. And part of it is, I guess, kind of doubling as has his own campaign ad, because he's indicating that he wants to do everything he can to make sure that those freedoms are protected here in California. But it's interesting because he's obviously not really feeling the need to say vote for Governor Newsom. He's instead saying, vote for this proposition.
All right, all things Gavin Newsom in our discussion today. Emily, good to see you. Thank you. CalMatters, a nonpartisan news organization explaining California policies and politics. Find their work at calmatters.org. You can also sign up for Emily's newsletter there.